7 Longevity Secrets from SuperAgers Over 80. If you stay with me until the very end of this video, you'll discover 7 real-life longevity secrets used by SuperAgers Over 80. People who don't just live longer, but live sharper, stronger, and happier than most people half their age. These aren't trendy biohacks or expensive treatments. They're habits quietly practiced by everyday men and women who still walk confidently, remember names clearly, and wake up with purpose. Now, here's the surprising part. You might already know it. It might even seem basic, but the results are out of this world. And when you hear how these superagers apply it consistently, everything will click in a new way. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine being 85 and still feeling useful, still laughing easily, still trusting your body and your mind. For many people watching right now, that feels far away or even impossible. But for superagers, it's simply normal life. In this video, I'll gently guide you through the 7 shared secrets researchers keep seeing again and again among people who age exceptionally well. Each one builds on the next, and missing even one could mean missing the full picture. So take a breath, get comfortable. This is not about fear of aging. It's about confidence in your future. And stay with me, because the final insight ties everything together in a way most people never talk about, and it may completely change how you see the years ahead. Let's begin with secret number 1. Secret 1. They protect their sense of purpose. One of the first things researchers notice about superagers over 80 is not their diet or their exercise. It's something quieter but far more powerful. They wake up with a reason, a purpose, something that makes the day feel meaningful. This doesn't mean they're working full-time jobs or running marathons. Many aren't, but they matter to someone or something. A garden they tend, a grandchild they listen to, a neighbor who counts on their phone call. Purpose doesn't have to be loud to be life-giving. What's fascinating is that purpose acts like an anchor for the brain. Superagers don't see themselves as waiting out the years. They see themselves as participants in life. And that mindset quietly shapes their choices, how they eat, how they move, how they relate to others. You might already know this. It might even seem basic, but the results are out of this world. Studies show that people with a strong sense of purpose tend to maintain better memory, stronger immunity, and even lower stress levels as they age. Here's the key difference. Superagers don't wait for motivation to appear. They commit to small responsibilities and let meaning grow from there. Purpose, for them, isn't a grand mission. It's a daily relationship with life itself. As we move forward, keep this in mind. Every secret we'll talk about builds on this foundation. Longevity doesn't begin with the body. It begins with how deeply you believe your presence still matters. And it does, more than you think. Secret 2. They move often, but gently. When people hear longevity, they often picture intense workouts or complicated routines. But superagers over 80 tell a very different story. They move, but they don't punish their bodies. Their movement is regular, gentle, and woven into daily life. Walking is a favorite, not rushed, not competitive, just steady, intentional steps. Many superagers walk every single day, even if only for 10 or 15 minutes. Others garden, stretch, cook, clean, or simply stay on their feet more than they sit. The magic isn't intensity, it's consistency. Their bodies trust movement because movement has never betrayed them. There's no fear, no dread, just familiarity. And that trust keeps joints fluid, circulation strong, and balance surprisingly youthful. What's especially important is how they think about movement. They don't say, "I have to exercise." They say, "I don't want to stiffen." Movement is protection, not punishment. You might already be doing this without realizing it, standing instead of sitting, taking the longer path, reaching, bending, turning naturally throughout the day. It may feel small, but over decades it becomes powerful. Superagers don't chase youth, they preserve function. And because of that, they keep independence longer than most. As we continue, notice how this secret connects to the first one. Purpose gives them a reason to move. Movement gives them the freedom to keep showing up for life. And that cycle, repeated daily, quietly adds years, not just to life, but to living. Secret 3. They eat simply and intuitively. Superagers over 80 don't obsess over food trends. They don't count every calorie or follow extreme rules. Instead, they eat in a way that feels calm, familiar, and respectful to their bodies. Their meals are often simple, foods they recognize, foods they've eaten for years. Vegetables, fruits, grains, modest portions of protein. Nothing flashy, nothing extreme, and most importantly, nothing rushed. One common habit stands out. They stop eating when they're satisfied, not stuffed. They listen. Over time, that inner signal becomes very clear. This alone protects digestion, energy levels, and metabolic health far into old age. Many superagers also treat meals as moments, not interruptions. They sit, they chew, they enjoy. Eating becomes nourishment, not noise. That relaxed relationship with food reduces stress on the body in ways most people never consider. You might already be doing this without realizing it, standing instead of sitting, taking the longer path, reaching, bending, turning naturally throughout the day. It may feel small, but over decades it becomes powerful. Superagers don't chase youth, they preserve function. And because of that, they keep independence longer than most. As we continue, notice how this secret connects to the first one. Purpose gives them a reason to move. Movement gives them the freedom to keep showing up for life. And that cycle, repeated daily, quietly adds years, not just to life, but to living. Secret 4. They protect their sleep like a treasure. Sleep is not optional for superagers. It's sacred. Over 80, they may sleep fewer hours than they once did, but the quality of their rest is carefully protected. They keep regular routines, similar bedtimes, gentle evenings. Many avoid overstimulation late at night, choosing calm activities instead. Reading, light music, quiet reflection. Their nervous systems are trained to slow down naturally. What's remarkable is how seriously they take rest without guilt. They don't see sleep as laziness. They see it as maintenance, as restoration, as something earned through a full day of living. Poor sleep accelerates aging in the brain and body. Superagers seem to know this instinctively. When sleep is disrupted, they adjust the day, not force the night. Short rests, slower pacing, more patience with themselves. You might already be doing parts of this, going to bed earlier, turning off screens, creating a sense of safety before sleep. These small choices compound over time. And here's something rarely discussed. SuperAgers don't panic about sleep. They trust it will come. That trust alone reduces anxiety, which ironically helps sleep arrive more easily. As we move on, remember this. Longevity is not built only by what you do. It's built by how well you allow yourself to recover. Sleep is not lost time. For SuperAgers, it's where life quietly repairs itself. Secret 5. They stay socially connected. One of the strongest predictors of long life among SuperAgers over 80 is not genetics, it's connection. Real human connection. SuperAgers rarely isolate completely. Even if their circle is small, it is consistent. A friend they speak to weekly, a familiar face at the market, a routine conversation that reminds them they are seen. These connections don't have to be deep or dramatic. What matters is continuity, familiar voices, shared memories, a sense of belonging. Social interaction keeps the brain active and the heart emotionally regulated. Loneliness, on the other hand, silently accelerates aging. SuperAgers seem to sense this and gently resist it. They answer the phone. They show up, even when it takes effort. Now, let me pause right here for a moment. If you're still watching up to this point, that tells me something important about you. You care about your future. So do me a small favor. Type 1 in the comments below, not for the algorithm, but as a quiet promise to yourself that you're still engaged with life. That simple act of engagement matters more than you think. SuperAgers understand this deeply. Staying connected is not about being busy, it's about staying emotionally awake. And that emotional wakefulness keeps the mind flexible, resilient, and young in ways medicine still struggles to explain. Secret 6. They manage stress differently. SuperAgers over 80 still experience stress. They've lived through loss, uncertainty, and hardship. The difference is not whether they feel stress, but how long they let it stay. They don't replay problems endlessly. They acknowledge difficulty, then gently redirect their attention. Some pray, some walk, some talk it out, some simply let time do its work. This ability to release stress protects the nervous system. Chronic tension ages the body faster than almost anything else. SuperAgers seem to have learned over decades that peace is a skill, not a personality trait. They choose their battles carefully. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every opinion requires defense. That emotional selectivity preserves enormous energy. You might already know this, it might even sound obvious, but the results are out of this world. Lower stress is linked to better memory, stronger immunity, and healthier hearts well into old age. SuperAgers also laugh more than you'd expect. Humor softens stress instantly. It reminds the body that it is safe. As we continue, notice the pattern forming. Longevity is not about control, it's about release. Letting go of tension, resentment, urgency creates space for the body to heal and endure. Secret 7. They keep learning and curious. One trait stands out clearly among SuperAgers over 80: curiosity. Their minds stay open. They ask questions. They learn new things, even slowly, even imperfectly. This doesn't mean formal education. It might be learning a new recipe, understanding a new device, listening to a new perspective. Curiosity keeps neural pathways active and flexible. SuperAgers are not embarrassed to say, "I don't know." That humility keeps their brains young. When learning stops, rigidity sets in, and rigidity accelerates aging. They also tell stories. Recounting memories strengthens recall and emotional processing. It's not nostalgia, it's mental exercise. What's beautiful is how gentle this learning is. No pressure, no comparison, just engagement. You might already be doing this, watching videos like this one, for example. That choice alone signals a brain that refuses to stagnate. As we move toward the final secrets, remember this: aging well is not about preserving youth, it's about preserving adaptability. SuperAgers don't fear change, they meet it slowly, thoughtfully, and with curiosity intact. How these secrets work together. Here's something important most people miss. These 7 secrets don't work alone. They reinforce each other. Purpose encourages movement. Movement improves sleep. Sleep reduces stress. Lower stress supports social connection. And connection keeps curiosity alive. SuperAgers don't chase longevity directly. They build systems that support it naturally. No single habit carries the weight alone. It's the combination, the rhythm that matters. This is why copying just one habit rarely works. Longevity is not a shortcut. It's a pattern repeated gently over decades. And the good news? You don't need to start all at once. SuperAgers didn't. They added one habit, then another, then allowed time to do its work. If this feels reassuring, that's intentional. Aging well is not about urgency, it's about alignment. In the next part, we'll prepare for something crucial, the most effective method that ties all of this together. Most people overlook it. SuperAgers don't. And once you understand it, everything we've discussed will feel not only possible, but sustainable. Preparing for the breakthrough insight. Before we move forward, I want you to notice how you feel right now. Not just what you're thinking, but what your body feels. Calm? Curious? Hopeful? That awareness itself is part of the SuperAger mindset. They check in with themselves regularly. They adjust early. Small corrections prevent big problems later. This self-attunement is subtle but powerful. Many people wait for symptoms. SuperAgers listen for signals: fatigue, tension, emotional heaviness, and they respond with kindness instead of force. This brings us close to the most important part of this entire video. In a moment, we'll talk about the single most optimized method SuperAgers use to sustain all these habits long-term. It's simple, it's underestimated, and once you see it, you may realize you've encountered it before without recognizing its power. Stay with me. What comes next isn't about adding more effort. It's about aligning everything you already know into one clear, sustainable path forward. The power of identity. This is just who I am. Here's something subtle but incredibly powerful about SuperAgers Over 80. They don't see their healthy habits as chores. They see them as identity. They don't say, "I'm trying to be healthy." They say, "I'm someone who takes care of myself." That difference changes everything. When a behavior becomes part of who you believe you are, it stops requiring constant willpower. SuperAgers don't debate whether to walk today. Walking is simply what they do. This identity-based approach protects them from burnout. They're not chasing results, they're expressing values, and values age far better than motivation ever will. You might already know this, it might even sound obvious, but the results are out of this world. When identity shifts, behavior follows effortlessly and stays. SuperAgers also avoid labeling themselves as old. They may acknowledge their age, but they don't internalize limitation. Instead, they think in terms of capability. What can I still do? That question keeps possibility alive. This mindset reduces fear, and fear, more than age, is what shrinks life. As we continue, notice how often aging is framed as loss. SuperAgers quietly reject that story. They focus on continuity, on remaining themselves, just wiser. And that belief shapes every choice they make, long after most people have given up on change. Why consistency beats perfection every time. SuperAgers over 80 are not perfect. They skip walks, they eat dessert, they have low energy days. What makes them different is that they never quit themselves. They don't think in all or nothing. They think in return. Miss a day, they return the next. Fall off routine, they gently step back on. This consistency with kindness approach is one of the most overlooked longevity tools. Perfection creates pressure. Pressure creates stress. Stress accelerates aging. SuperAgers avoid that trap entirely. They allow life to fluctuate without abandoning their core habits. This flexibility protects mental health and keeps routines sustainable for decades, not weeks. You may recognize this pattern in your own life. The habits that stayed with you weren't the strict ones, they were the ones that forgave you. And here's the key insight. The body responds more to frequency than intensity. Small actions repeated calmly outperform heroic efforts that burn out quickly. SuperAgers intuitively understand this. They build rhythms they can maintain even on their worst days. And that's why those rhythms survive into their 80s and beyond. As we move closer to the most important insight of all, remember this: longevity is not about doing more, it's about doing less more often. How SuperAgers redefine healthy aging. Ask a SuperAger what it means to age well, and you may be surprised by the answer. They rarely mention appearance, rarely mention numbers. Instead, they talk about function. I can still walk where I want. I can still think clearly. I can still enjoy my mornings. SuperAgers define success by independence and enjoyment, not by comparison. That reframing protects them from discouragement and envy, two emotions that quietly erode health. They don't measure themselves against younger people. They measure themselves against yesterday, and even then, with compassion. This mindset reduces pressure and increases gratitude. Gratitude, in turn, lowers cortisol hormones and improves emotional regulation, key factors in long-term health. You might already be doing this without naming it, appreciating what still works, adjusting expectations gently. That's not giving up, that's wisdom. SuperAgers also accept help when needed. They don't see assistance as failure, they see it as adaptation, and adaptation is the true marker of resilience. As we continue, notice how often healthy aging is framed as resistance. SuperAgers choose cooperation instead, working with their bodies, not against them. That cooperation allows them to age not just longer, but lighter. The quiet role of daily rituals. Rituals play a powerful role in the lives of superagers over 80. Not rigid schedules, but gentle anchors that give the day structure and meaning. Morning tea, an afternoon walk, evening reflection. These rituals signal safety to the nervous system. They reduce uncertainty, and a calm nervous system is essential for long-term health. Superagers don't rush their rituals. They let them mark time. These moments create emotional stability, especially during change or loss. Rituals also reduce decision fatigue. When certain actions are automatic, the mind rests, and mental rest is just as important as physical rest. You may already have rituals you underestimate. A favorite chair, a familiar routine. These are not trivial. They are protective. Superagers treat these habits with respect. They don't sacrifice them easily. And because of that, they maintain a sense of continuity, even as life changes. As we move forward, keep this in mind. Longevity is not supported by what you do, but by what you repeat. Rituals turn healthy choices into emotional comfort. And comfort, when healthy, becomes a powerful ally in aging well. The role of acceptance in long life. One of the deepest secrets of superagers is acceptance, not resignation, but clear-eyed acceptance of reality as it is. They don't fight aging emotionally, they adapt practically. Fighting reality creates chronic stress. Acceptance frees energy for solutions. Superagers accept limitations without defining themselves by them. A slower pace doesn't mean a smaller life, it means a different rhythm. This acceptance protects mental health and reduces frustration, and frustration, when constant, accelerates decline. You might already know this, it might even sound simple, but the results are out of this world. Acceptance lowers cortisol, improves sleep, and supports emotional resilience. Superagers also accept uncertainty. They don't demand guarantees from the future. They focus on today's manageable choices. This presence keeps anxiety low and appreciation high. And appreciation has measurable effects on the brain and heart. As we approach the final insights, remember this: aging well is not about control, it's about cooperation, with time, with change, with yourself. The long view, thinking in years, not weeks. Superagers think long-term, but without pressure. They don't expect immediate results. They trust accumulation. They understand that small choices today echo years later. That perspective removes urgency and replaces it with patience. This long view prevents discouragement. When progress feels slow, they don't quit, they zoom out. You may already be practicing this wisdom. Watching this video is a long view choice, learning now for later. Superagers rarely ask, "Is this working yet?" They ask, "Can I live this way?" That question filters out unsustainable habits instantly. What remains is simplicity, repetition, and peace. As we move to the most important method of all, notice how everything we've discussed points towards sustainability, not effort. Longevity is not built by intensity, it's built by alignment over time. The most optimized method superagers use. Now we arrive at the most important part of this entire video, the method that quietly holds everything together. Superagers over 80 practice daily self-alignment. Each day, consciously or not, they ask themselves a simple internal question. Does this support the life I want to keep living? That question guides food choices, movement, rest, connection, everything. It's not rigid, it's responsive. This is the most optimized method because it adapts as the body changes. What worked at 60 may adjust at 80, but the question stays the same. You might already be doing this without naming it, pausing, checking in, adjusting gently. It seems basic, but the results are out of this world. This daily alignment prevents extremes, reduces regret, and keeps habits realistic for decades. SuperAgers don't follow rules. They follow feedback from their bodies, their energy, their emotions. And that feedback loop is what keeps them thriving long after others feel disconnected from themselves. Stay with me. In the final segment, I'll share the one takeaway that brings all of this into focus and how you can lock it in starting today. If you remember only one thing from this entire video, let it be this. Longevity is not something you chase, it's something you align with. SuperAgers don't fight aging, they cooperate with life. And that cooperation creates strength, clarity, and peace well into their 80s and beyond. Now, if you're still here with me, I want to acknowledge you. That tells me you're serious about your future. So do this now. Type 2 in the comments below. It's a small action, but it reinforces commitment. And if this video helped you see aging differently, even a little, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. You never know whose future you might quietly improve. This channel is about living longer and living better, calmly, wisely, and with dignity. Thank you for staying until the end. Your future self will thank you too.